Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bill. We're in the fantasy trip, the Labyrinth, by Steve Jackson Games. We are continuing the IQ talent series. The IQ talents we'll be looking at will be IQ 9 and 10 today. And without further ado, we'll dive in and see what y'all can get if your IQ for your character's 9, 10, or higher. You might find some of these talents useful and spend some points into it. So, as we covered in the previous video, IQ 7 and 8 mostly were weapon talents, but there were some interesting talents that could also help you. So, go watch that video if you haven't seen it yet. IQ 9 talents. Acute hearing. Costs 2 points. This is the ability that the blind develop, being able to sense walls, obstructions, and living beings by sound and pressure waves in the air. A figure with acute hearing can 1. Hear the approaching beings before they hear her, unless her own party is making too much noise, GM's discretion. 2. Travel in the dark at only half her normal speed, though with no chance of noticing hidden doors, traps, etc. 3. Detect invisible or hidden creatures within 3 megahexes. 1 megahex is 3 hexes across. A hex is 1 meter, so you got 3 meters across is a megahex. And this is 3 megahexes. So, on a 4-die roll against IQ, if her own party is silent, she may listen for breathing. 4. Fight in the dark at -4 dex instead of -6. A figure with this ability cannot be taken by surprise from behind. Her sixth sense will warn her. Alertness costs 2 points. The talent of being keen-eyed, watchful, alert. A figure with this talent rolls 1 less die when looking for anything hidden or when noticing something. A very valuable skill for thieves, spies, and scouts. He also has a 3-die roll against IQ to detect any ambush before being attacked. Animal Handler costs 2 points. The ability to make friends with and, in time, train all normal animals. To make friends with an animal, you must be at least 1 megahex away from other people/animals in your party. And act as though you are trying to be friendly. If you make a roll 3 versus your IQ, 3 6-sided dice versus your IQ, the animal will not attack and may even befriend you for a while. GM makes a reaction roll. If you miss the roll, the animal will behave as it would towards anyone else, up to and including attacking you. This talent works only on normal animals, the types listed under beasts. No werewolves, undead, bugs, dragons, octopi, reptiles, slimes, etc. If an animal befriends you, it will accompany you for a time. If its reaction roll was a 6, it will stay as a pet. Otherwise, it will follow the party, tolerating your companions and protecting you until you leave the area. The animal will not attack on your orders. In a doubtful situation, the GM may make another reaction roll to see whether it will fight in your defense or just slink away. This talent also gives you the ability to train animals. See Trained Animals. Bard costs 2 points. Ability to sing and or play a musical instrument. A bard is welcome in most places. Treat this ability to ingratiate himself as sex appeal ability, which may be attempted against any human or humanoid creature. If the bard also has sex appeal, subtract 2 from his die roll. In other than life or death situations, though, the bard's +1 on reaction rolls is automatic if he speaks the language of those he is dealing with. Charisma costs 2 points. This talent gives you an automatic +1 on all reaction rolls, except with animals, zombies, demons, and similar nasties. It also gives you a chance to make friends with any humanoid creature. The GM rolls the dice, 3 dice against your IQ, so 3 6-sided dice against your IQ in an ordinary encounter, 4 6-sided dice if a combat was about to occur, 5 6-sided dice if charisma is attempted on or by a prisoner. And role play it is listed right after that. If you make the roll, the beings will automatically be friendly. The GM will ignore any hostile reaction rolls, treating it as neutral instead. True personal charisma works regardless of language. You can use signs or whatever. But if you don't speak the language, your new friends can't do you much good and will be less inclined to accompany you or render any greater aid. They'll think, nice fellow that, and go on about their business. Climbing costs 1 point. This is rock climbing or mountain climbing experience. A character with this ability is at a great advantage whether vertical or near vertical obstacles must be traversed. He is at home with ropes, spikes, and other climbing gear. He can also climb a very rough rock face or decorative stone wall without equipment. He is not by any means a human fly, though, and can't scale sheer faces unaided. It is entirely up to the GM when climbing challenges are created to decide what a climber should be able to climb automatically and what might still require a roll versus adjusted dex. So dex that's already has penalties applied to it or advantages added into it. A non-climber always has the roll in a challenge situation, and if a climber would have to roll, the non-climber attempt should be penalized by rolling at least 1 extra dice. Detect traps. This one costs 2 points. A figure with this ability rolls 2 fewer dice when looking for any trap, and 1 fewer die when making his saving roll against a trap that went off. See traps for more details. This talent only costs 1 IQ. If you already have alertness, having both detect traps and alertness gives you no extra bonus when looking for a trap. The Thieves Guild is normally the only place to learn this talent. Diving costs 1 point. Prerequisite, the swimming talent. A character with the diving talent is skilled and confident swimmer. A diver need not make a saving roll if he falls into the water unexpectedly, even if he's in armor. He'll be able to get it off. Driver, 1 point cost. Ability to drive a wagon, cart, chariot, etc., or to act as a mahout to control an elephant, dinosaur, or other large animals in battle or otherwise. Also gives all horseman type abilities with respect to large, over 3 hex, riding animals. Missile weapons, this is a 1 point talent. A high degree of skill with whatever missile weapon the figure has the talent for. Attained by constant practice, may also be used with missile spells, which the figure knows. This talent gives the user a +1 dex on all missile weapons and spells that he knows. This dex counts towards speed of fire for bows as well as accuracy. Missile weapon talents can be chosen 2 or even 3 times for a +2 or +3 bonus. Pickpocket costs 1. Roll 3 dice versus dex. To pick a pocket or steal a purse. Failure means you're noticed. Roll only 2 dice if some distraction is arranged to fool your victim. Pickpocketing with subtlety is hard, and unskilled rolls should not be allowed. The Thieves Guild teaches this talent. Priest costs 1. This is the ability to act as a priest, shaman, clergyman, or whatever, of the religion of your choice. Running a temple, getting donations, attracting converts, etc. If the GM wishes to make one or more religions effective, he may give the priest the power to affect their die rolls, or others, through prayers. If this ability is used, it should be made very minor and unreliable, as miracles will unbalance the game and everyone will want to be a priest. So if I want to use that, I'd probably have them make a roll versus their IQ for their faith when they do a prayer, and then have them just roll percentile, call high or low. So it's a 50-50 chance that it actually works. And then just give with priest, I just give a +1 or a -1, whatever's favorable to the person they're trying to affect, to the dice roll. And then for the upgraded priest talent later in the book, I'd probably give a lot bigger of a bonus, but it might be just as unreliable. Recognize value, ability to tell whether a thug has worth. Whether a thing has worth, sorry. If the value of an object is not obvious, the GM may require a roll of 3 or 4 or even more dice against IQ for a character to realize it's worth something. Alertness does not help here. However, if a figure has recognized value, he always rolls 1 dice fewer. This skill does not tell how much something might be worth. That is the assess value talent, which is harder. So that just tells you that it's valuable. So the gold-plated thing's valuable. Or this thing that has the shiny rocks in it, those are gems, they're valuable. Silent movement. This costs 2 points. A figure with this ability can walk so quietly that she cannot be heard by normal ears. A figure with acute hearing or a wolf, dog, or similar sharp-eared animal could hear her up to 3 megahexes away, but only if it was actively listening for something. To move silently, a figure must be wearing leather armor or lighter and may not be traveling faster than 4 megahexes a turn. Sorry, I'm wrong. 4 movement allowance per turn, so 4 hexes a turn. So little over 1 megahex. Streetwise costs 1 point. Ability to get around the mean streets. If you roll 1 fewer dice when looking for anything illegal, stolen, or otherwise dodgy, or when looking for someone with illegal skills or connections. Roll versus IQ to blend in a dive bar or the like, even in a strange town. You know thieves' argot, the ever-changing secret slang of the underworld. You are likely to be aware of thieves' guild politics, city guard orders, and in particular when people are asking about you. +1 on reactions from half-world or underworld types. Toughness. This costs 2 points. Years of combat experience has made you hard to hit, and you know how to take a blow. You may take this talent twice. Each toughness acts like armor to subtract 1 point from every attack made against you. The prerequisite is a strength of 12 for the first one and a strength of 14 for the second point. IQ 10 talents. Acrobatics. This one will cost 2 points. A dex of 12 is required to learn this skill. An acrobat is trained in keeping his balance, recovering from falls, etc. A person with this talent can make his dex roll on 1 fewer dice whenever a saving roll is called for to avoid some type of fall or clumsiness, or to avoid some large falling object. An acrobat can also climb up a rope at a rate of 2 yards per turn with no risk of falling. A non-acrobat climbs at 1 yard per turn and must make saving roll 2 dice versus dex each turn. Armorer. This costs 1 point. Lets the character given access to the proper tools and materials build and maintain ordinary weapons and armor, not including fine weapons, crossbows, gunpowder weapons, or siege engines. He knows weapons very well. He will know a fine weapon for what it is and will recognize a magic one as being magic, but not as to what the spell type is, on a 3 dice roll versus his IQ. Business sense costs 2 points. General knowledge of business, trading, etc. A character with this talent gains +1 on any reaction rolls involving a business deal. He can also try to swindle a chance-met figure by either selling him something at twice its value or buying one thing at half its value. If A, the trader is smarter than the figure being bilked and all his companions, B, the trader makes his IQ roll on 4 dice, If the traitor meets his victim again after the victim has had time to think things over, he must roll his IQ or less on 4 dice again to avoid hostility. A -2 on reactions if the IQ roll is missed. A figure with this talent cannot swindle someone who also has the business sense ability. Note that almost all merchants have business sense, so if you're the merchant character class, you should take business sense. Diplomacy. This one costs 1 point. Allows the leader of a party to command a party which includes members of races or other groups who are hostile to him or each other. Allows a character to attempt to talk to a member of the hostile group without an automatic penalty on reaction rolls. That's the dynamics of elves and dwarves against each other, as well as elves and dwarves against goblins and orcs that could be in your party. Engineer. Costs 2 points. Ability to build, maintain, and effectively use all siege engines and large weapons of war, including the ballista, trebuchet, catapult, bombard, siege tower, battering ram, etc. Ability to detect a mining operation against a fortress. Mimic costs 1 point. Ability to reproduce any voice, accent, or if you're also a naturalist, which is the next talent, an animal call. The GM will roll 4 dice against your victim's IQ to see if he is fooled. If the roll is missed, they believe the imitation. Animals only roll 2 dice. Roll once each time the mimic speaks. Obviously, the mimic must know the language or at least a few words. Naturalist. This costs 2 points. Knows about herbs, animals, etc. Will recognize all races and creatures except special weird GM creations. A naturalist gets a 3-die saving roll against IQ to see a slime or similar ambushing creature just before he walks into the ambush area. This becomes a 5-die roll if the naturalist is running or fighting. Even if he does not see a creature before it attacks, he gets a normal saving roll to dodge the attack. Poet costs 1 point. Ability to write a poem that is not merely a collection of rhymes, to engage the hearer's emotions in a way that prose cannot. A bard who lacks this talent can still compose amusing doggerel, of course, but a bard will write good songs. An illiterate poet bard is quite possible, for instance, a Norse skald who has memorized tens of thousands of lines of the sagas. You may take this skill more than once to become a better poet, though effects are up to the game master. Prerequisites, either bard or literacy. Remove traps, costs 1 point. Prerequisite, detect traps. Using this ability, you roll the printed number of dice to remove any trap. Without this talent, you roll twice as many dice, and any failure by more than 5 results in the trap going off. This talent's learned from the Thieves Guild. Shield expertise, costs 2 points. Side note, every character is proficient in armor, but you have to take proficiency in shield, and that's a IQ 7 or 8 talent. Shield expertise costs 2 points. A high degree of trained ability with the shield. You attack against your foe, your front hex you can attack against your front hex at a -1 dex with your shield any attack against your front hex is at an extra -1 dex. And you stop an extra hit of damage with your shield. So the enemy's dex is 1 lower, and you stop a point of damage with your shield, more than what it would normally stop. If you make a shield rush attack, which is attacking with the shield, the foe is at a -2 penalty on his or her ability to stay afoot. Prerequisite, shield talent. Thief. Not a talent in itself, but a proficiency page. I don't know why it's listed here then. Okay, tracking, 1. A tracker can look at an area 1 megahex in size, and if the GM makes his IQ his 3 dice versus IQ roll tell accurately what has passed within the last day, or the last thing to pass. If many have gone by, he can also get a general idea of what frequents the area. Of course, if the GM misses the IQ roll, he can lie to the tracker, or say that nothing has passed. Unarmed Combat 1. This costs 1 point. Basic martial arts, similar to judo, karate, la savate, etc. A figure with this skill can punch, does +1 damage with bare hands in either hand-to-hand or ordinary combat. If your ordinary bare hand damage is, say, 1d6 minus 4, you do 1d6 minus 3. You could kick in regular combat. Roll to hit is at a -4 dex, but does a +2 damage compared to your regular bare hands attack. To use this skill or any higher level unarmed combat skill, a figure must be unarmed or unarmored or wearing cloth armor only, and have both hands free. No unskilled use of unarmed combat talent is allowed. A martial artist should not expect to best a prepared, armed, and armored foe, but is far more prepared for an impromptu unarmed battle. Note that the unarmed combat talents do not stack. The effects of unarmed combat 2 replaces the effects of unarmed combat 1, and so on. And that would be it. That's our IQ 9 and 10 talents. The next video in this talent series will be IQ 11 and 12 talents. So hopefully that helps and gives you some ideas on how the talents are working and what you can select and what they can do. Until we all game again, guys.